Hi, it's David here with Futures Trading. I'd like to welcome you to the channel. I'm going to give you a ton of information in a very short amount of time here. If you're new to the channel, I'm going to show you where everything is at, but I'm going to cover some stuff here that's going to help you to know how far the market should be able to travel. So you don't get, kind of booted out the trade too early and you can kind of stay in there and hold it just a bit. Also, we're going to look at the daily because I know it's trying to turn back up. However, they got some information that's coming down on top of them that could potentially lead to something else. All right, so I know they did that gap up, but we're gonna look at it. All right, so we're also going to talk about a little bit of that value, just a little bit, not much, but I'm definitely going to read the chart to you in real time. All right, we're going to try to get all of this going within a few minutes. All right, so let me show you where everything is at so you'll know. I don't do prop firms. All right, prop firm links, enticing intros, face plastering, new strategies, hindsight analysis, and I don't regurgitate other traders. So you're going to learn what I know about markets and how it's relative, no matter what the market is that you're trading or time frame. Important stuff. All right, so videos with the most views. This is pretty important. So if you want to go back here and digest 42 minutes, it'll change your trading. Absolutely. But I'm going to try to touch on all of this here. Universal threshold. This is how far the bar will pull back before resuming. The price action trend, you just need to be able to count to 10. That's it. And then the price action method, I use the majority principle, which states that the minority is compelled to follow the universal chart scale. So I'll teach you how to read your hard right edge so you don't have to look left. Hindsight will never stop us out. All right. So you need to be able to read the real time. And almost all of my videos here on the channel are in real time. Really interesting stuff. All right. So make sure you take a look around. All right. And if you need additional information, I do provide that, but you don't have to go this far. All right. I just want to tell you that if you would like to be a part of that information there, it's there for you. Here's some time ranges for you. All right, so we got 6:15, 7:45, and then we got 12:15, 1:45. All right, and that's the darker gray area here. Really simple stuff. You just want to keep them beneath the center of the range. All right, or above the center of the range. That's it. All right, now I'll kind of scroll through this just a little bit, not by much. And then, of course, there's that chart scale. And then we're going to go into the other information here. Let me just kind of scroll through this just a little bit, not much. You want to use your chart scale, all right? The center of the scale here, the upper part of the scale here, and then of course the lower part. That's your bezel. So you're trying to read your bezel. Make sure that they can stay bullish, stay above the center of the chart. However, yes, the upper part of the chart can act as resistance and send them down. And again, just kind of incorporate those ranges. Okay, put that in there. Again, the center of the range is important. Okay, you saw that? You saw how it dropped right off the top of that there. And again, you can take any chart and do this. All right, any market, any time frame. You see how they tried to bounce at the center of the chart. Okay, now the chart, it does adjust, but you're not to do that. You are to constantly look at your bezel as a means of cyclical activity where it can become support or resistance. All right, I want to make sure that you understand that. It's really simple. It's not complicated. And you can do this with any chart, any time frame, any market. Everything that I'm going to show you has everything to do with that, where you can trade no matter what the time frame, no matter what the market, you can be able to trade the markets very effectively. All right. Been doing this for a very long time. And there's the gap up right into the center of the chart there, kind of stalled out just a little bit, but then they got above it, trying to use it for support. There's our range. Kind of stayed there just for a little bit. And then, of course, there's the chart adjustment and they pushed up. All right. So now that you saw that, all right, let's just kind of get that out the way. All right. So now this is the volume. And then we're going to dive into the chart with just the foundational principles of majority. So that way you know how to pull up the chart and just begin to look at it and pick it apart no matter what market or time frame you're trading. We had an M3 flip, all right? And so I went over that in the last video here. I'm not going to dive much into it. Let me show you where this is so you can go back. We had like three of those occasions happening. So you can definitely come back here and, see that M3 there. But they had it up here at the high, Dimitri. I know you sent me an email on yesterday saying, man, the value can be confusing. It can. It absolutely can. And that's why I'm going to make sure I really lay the foundation here for you when it comes to the volume, how to use the volume that's provided in the suite. All right. So I did bring one additional rule to it to help you. Okay, I want to make sure that I do that for you, Dimitri. So here we go. And hopefully this can reach everyone else that have the suite or potentially want to pick it up. I have the standard volume from the platform down here to kind of fill in those areas. Again, these areas are important. Again, those are the bars without opacity. And if you're doing that, which is very important, no color. It is turning or continuing. So that's important. So here's the rules for the volume that's provided. I got like 4 of them in here. I'm overlaying them in one window. However, up here, I made bar colors. All right. So there's only 2 indications here for the bar color. Let me find them for you. All right, so you're going to use the Volume Benchmark Pro Alt. That is the lighter green. I'm sorry, pale green, the light coral. Now you can make it whatever color you want, or the benchmark, the Volume Benchmark Pro Bar color, and that's the red and green. All right, so that's the increasing one. So there's only 2 indications here for that. However, there's 4 in total because there's a climactic volume I have in here as well. So we got the 2 bar colors up here. These are the rules. Pale green, light coral is decreasing value, which happens to start a turn. Now, I'm not going to dive through every scenario here. I'm not. I'm just going to point out a couple things. Then the green and the red are the increasing value, which happens before the turning point because they enter the market before it turns. All right. Or immediately after it. Now, that's them getting it going. All right. So they're coming in with the darker red before it turns. Okay, and then they'll come in with the green to get it going, the dark green. All right, so the green and the red come in before, happens before the turn, the turning points, or immediately after the turn. All right, and the pale green, kind of the same thing. All right, that's decrease in volume, which happens, happens to the start of a turn. All right, so it kind of came in here, but then it went just slightly above it and began to decline. But you saw that darker green there. All right, and that's them trying to get it going, but it just didn't work. And then you had the M3 flip. Now there's the M3 pattern, kind of again like it was in the last video. They flipped it. Now here's your trend. Trend is 7 bars closing lower. All right, there's the indication. You got that indicator up here, here. All right, so trend bear, trend bull. You can add those to the chart, and that's what you'll have. All right, so let me just remove these because we want to point out something when it comes to these blue arrows here. Now, the thing that we're going to look at when it comes to these blue arrows that I'm pointing to, all right, they're going to be littered throughout the chart. And I'm going to just show you something here, Dimitri, so it can help you out. And then we're going to go to that other chart. And again, I'm only going to be with you for just a few moments. The reiteration of the same color indicates profit taking or a larger move. So they're trying to turn that market, all right, or they're getting ready to take off. So we're going to try to collectively put them together. All right. So you can see it before this move up. We'll talk about that blue bar in a minute, but you can see it before the move up here. All right. They had the two greens here. All right. You can kind of see that going on there. Usually that'll turn them over and they'll profit take. They'll take some of the money out and then maybe continue, or the reverse, either which one. And normally this will happen in pullbacks. Right. So this will happen in pullbacks respectfully from the other side. Okay, so let's say a decline, you see 2 reds and they're trying to go back up. You see the 2 reds, there's a good chance, and I'll show you examples of it. There's a good chance that they'll turn around right after you see that, probably a couple more bars, and then bam, it'll turn around. Sometimes it's immediate. All right, so that's the only additional rule I want you to kind of take with you. All right, now that should begin to simplify it a bit because when you're going bar by bar with this, these are the rules for it. All right, these are the rules for it. But reiteration is important. You and I had talked about that, and of course, everyone else that's on that playlist. I've mentioned it several times in almost all the videos. Reiteration is so important in the market. Really, really important. I want you guys to make sure you listen to me when I say that. It's very important that they do something twice. Do it twice. All right. So as I begin to move through the chart, you're going to see a blue arrow where I reiterate, where the reiteration had showed up, where there was 2 reds or 2 light greens, 2 dark greens. You're going to see that information. Now, wherever you're seeing a blue bar, I do want to tell you that because that was in the last video. That was in the last video, so I'm going to put it in here for you, but I'm going to have it on this chart here. That's your hidden expansion consecutive bar color. All right, now I know a lot of you chase that fair value gap stuff, which is 3 bars. You don't need that many. I'll prove it to you. However, this is a 3-bar setup as well. Typically, whenever you get the 3-bar setup, this setup here, the hidden expansion consecutive bar color, they can go the distance of the 3 bars. Should they not do that, that's bad. You had one here, there's a blue bar here. They didn't want to go the distance of those three. Well, that's bad. They're turning around. Same scenario here. You had it here. They pushed up just a little bit, but they're not really giving you that distance. And we're going to talk about distance as well. So then here's your three. And I tried to mark out where they put the hidden expansion bar color and tested it before running. All right, so they did it here. And here's your M3, Dimitri. I know we had that in the last video. Here's your M3 setup. That was at the top too. I don't know if you guys caught that, but that was here. They kissed the back of it, and of course they took off to the downside. They even kissed the back of this one as well. All right, so they kissed the back of that one as well, and then pushed down. Here's one in here. They pulled up to the back of it, pushed down. So the M3, yes, it can get it going. You had it here right off the center of that trend. That's the COT, the center of the trend. You had the M3 there. They pulled up to it. Boom. They took off to the downside. So you're going to find the M3 in here too. I put it in here as the last video. I wanted to put the same information for you. All right. So again, that reiteration is profit taking, or there's a larger move. All right. So I want to make sure that you know that. So that's profit taking, that push into this high, or it's a larger move coming. Right. So I just want to make sure that you're able to utilize that rule in conjunction with that volume. And again, I tried to zone out where they actually tested the blue bar. Right. I just wanted to make sure I zone that out. And of course, it's in here and they can keep going and give you the three bars, but I wanted to mark the ones where they actually pulled into it and then went further. So combine the reiteration, all right, combine that, okay, and you can kind of see where they're taking profits off the table. And I did put the standard volume down here, so if you guys want to just look at the volume in conjunction with what it is that I'm showing you, you're more than welcome to do that. But just looking at this volume here, the standard one with no rules, it just doesn't make sense in most cases unless you're someone that's in tune with reading volume. I'm not one to trade with it. I don't need it, but I want to make sure that it's available to those who purchase the indicator suite. All right. So if you are already in possession of the suite and you do not have the current updates, you will have to incur $100 cost. All right. Now, if you're new and you want the suite, it's only $100. If you recently purchased it, you should be able to just obtain the update. So if you do not have the updates, it means you did not recently purchase it. All right. So, and that means you would have to incur that cost. All right. Because it takes me time to make the tools. And so I'm just wanting to be compensated for my time. All right. So those that already had the suite, I'm sure you've already made $100 with this information. The M3 is already in there. It is. So you would have definitely been able to use that. But the volume, the hidden expansion, there's another indicator. Actually, it's two more indicators with this. One is a single bar plot, one is a two bar plot, dual bar plot, and then of course this one is a three bar plot. And again, they can show up in places, but I only mark the ones where they actually reached back and touched that bar and then went in that direction. All right, just to make it a little simple. This one didn't work. They went above it. All right, so they went outside of that. That sucked, but then they came back with it. All right, so wherever you're seeing the arrow, all right, you got your M3s in here, but wherever you're seeing that arrow, Dimitri, is the reiteration, all right, of that same color, indicating profit taking or a larger move. All right, so that's two bars. Okay, I want you to see that. Wherever you're seeing that arrow is profit taking or there's a larger move. And typically, if there's some kind of profit taking, they're going to go back past those two bars. All right. So I just want to make sure that you can use that information to your advantage. All right. So, and again, the M3, they pulled into that zone. Here's the M3s up here, kind of getting it going. Then you had another one here. They reached back into that and begin to decline, and you're getting the M3s on the way down into this bottom. And then of course here's your blue bars. All right, you had an M3 here, they leaned right into it, and then bang, they took off and went to the upside. All right, so that's the additional way of going about using the volume that should be simpler to use. Again, if you want to just use the bar coloring, all right, if you just want to use the bar coloring, you're going with the alt is the decreasing one. The standard pro is the increasing one. All right. So you can just add those bar colors to a chart, make it simple. You don't have to look down into a sub window, but should you want to do that, there's four volumes here. You can just pick two of them if you want and just go with that. All right. So, but here's the activity. You have an M3 here. I don't believe that these guys stay up. I don't. You had the consecutive. All right. So let's just point this out really quickly here. You had the consecutive reds here. All right, they pulled up to it, but they're not going past it. They're not going past it. That's bad. All right, that's bad. You had the two consecutive here, and then you had the two consecutive here. All right, so you had the two consecutive reds here. They're not willing to go past it. That's them getting it to the downside. All right, so I just wanted to make sure that that's available to you and that it's simple and that you can understand that as well. All right, so now let's get into what it is that you would need, the new trader that needs some help. Before doing so, really quickly here, just piggybacking off what we just did with the volume, here's your daily. Now, the daily is not so much of a problem, it's what's happening with this hourly. All right, so the daily, I'm gonna blow it up for you because in that last video that I put on the channel here, let me go and just show you that one more time so you'll know. This video here, I showed you the daily before the gap up, before they gapped up, and I showed you that they had a blue bar. Okay, they had a blue bar here. Okay, you had blue bars back here. They leaned into it. They just kind of kept going. Blue bars here. They kind of just kept going. Had a blue bar here. They kind of, they didn't touch it yet, but now they have. They fell right into it and then gapped up. All right, so they gapped up. I was expecting them to get up there, but they're not wanting to do that. That's not the problem. All right, so they don't have to get up there. That's okay. And I told you this is pretty significant, not because of the drop. It's something else that's going on. All right, but that's important. And here's that jump up here. On yesterday, they leaned over. You had a couple blue bars in here. I know they had this one, and again, they didn't want to. Well, I guess you can say they went the distance of those three bars to the upside before taking it out. But then they came back to this blue bar here, and usually when you got the consecutive, they'll stop at the first one. I mean, well, the closest one. They'll stop at the closest one without having to reach back so far. They leaned into that, and then of course all day yesterday they kind of wanted to push up. All right, so but now you're getting them coming in. All right, you're getting them coming in. We're going to have to see where this goes. You had the consecutive volume here. Okay, we had the two greens here. You had the two greens. They kind of stalled out, and then they pushed up some more, just a little bit more, and now they're turning back around, back under these bars. All right, so that they're not trying to recover. So that isn't what we want to see. You had the consecutive here with these two greens here. You had the consecutive down here. They paused just for a bit, and of course they went higher. But now we're back under that set as well. All right. And of course, you had the consecutive red when this big bar finished here. You had the consecutive red and they went down even lower. All right. And you can do that over here on the daily as well. You can kind of run that scenario. Let me see if I can get my crosshairs here. Is it going to let me? Okay, let me get my crosshairs. I do got a lot of charts open. Do forgive me. All right. So you had your consecutive green here. Okay. You had that consecutive green here. They kind of paused just a bit and then they would have, but now we're back under it. All right, so I just want to make sure that you can take and put that on your daily as well. The prices that you'll want to watch out for, let me kind of put this in front of you and then we're going to go into that information. Use your market analyzer, people. That's provided with the indicator suite and all of that. So $100, you can get all of this information, everything that you're seeing, you can get it for $100. All right, if you're recently purchased it or interested. Now, if you've already purchased the suite, but it was some time ago, I do want to make sure that you do know that you would have to incur just $100 cost to it. It's not a problem, all right? It's $100. Clearly, what I can tell you for free, you can make $100. All right, so we're trying to make a trend back up here. All right, so they're trying to come back off that low. They're trying to, all right? They're trying to do that, but it's what's happening from above that's concerning me. That's all. That's concerning me. All right, so hopefully we can just go ahead and get back up. Hopefully that's the case. All right. So, but we want to try to keep them above the pivot range high. Okay. Well, this is yesterday. They actually under it. But for this bar, the pivot range high, it's right above the midpoint. Right above the midpoint. And of course, the pivot range low would be somewhere down here. We don't want them down there. We want to try to get them to close above the pivot range high. If they can make it back above the pivot range low of this bar and kind of wipe all of this out, that'd just be fantastic. But right now, based on this bar that's trading right now, here is the pivot range low and the pivot range high, and those are your prices for today. You definitely want to see if they can get back above that 657, which is currently. Now, this is fluid. These two are fluid. They can change. But I know 930 is coming in the next 30 minutes. So let's see if they can get back above that 657, 58. Let's go 58. If they cannot get back above the 650, 58, then there's a chance that we're going to try to move it down a bit further. All right. So kind of just want to, kind of keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind. And of course, you would have access to this as well. This information here, which provides you the specs, if you will, for the information that's on that market analyzer. All right. So there's your trend. So they just made a trend back up. All right. So go over this really quickly for my new trader here. We'll make sure that you know how to trade. It's very simple. It's not complicated. All right. I want to make sure that I tell you that it's not hard. All right. So let's change the color of this. I'm gonna do this for about 10 minutes and then I will let you go. I'm not gonna be up here long. Don't want to hold your attention too long. And if you do value the information, be sure to share it with someone, please. And tell someone about the channel as well. All right. So these are the three ways that majority is going to show up on your chart. All right, these are the three ways we're wanting to get the midpoint above the candle's high, okay, and we want to get that midpoint below the candle's low. Should that happen, there's a pressure that will come on and indicate that that's taking place. Or you can use this. I got a bar percent indicator that has a ton of information associated with it. I just got the threshold on it right now. You can actually put the mid onto it. You can put the mid onto it, and that will let you know when it's falling below if you don't want to use the pressures. All right. So again, the midpoint above the high or the midpoint below the low. That's what you're looking for. Now, should that happen, these two lines here, this little area right in here. Now, this is how far we're wanting to see if price could come into it and then turn around. We want to see how far price can come into it and then turn around. All right, that's what we're looking for. Clearly, they're outside of it, so that's not going to be it. All right, that's not going to be it. Now, the next thing that we're going to be looking for now, the colored bars are the stop. All right, that's the stop. So that's what this is. That's what the bar here with the threshold. That's the stop bar if that scenario actually played out. So if they got that mid above that high or that mid below that low, this bar will turn green or red. All right, and that's the no touch, no close bar color. And then you have the pressures. Now that dot you're seeing is letting you know where the trend is at. So they start a trend, and of course they can go with that. Now the increase is the thing we're getting ready to talk about. Now I tried to code the increase indicator to the best of my ability, given that I'm not the greatest at it. I'm just trying. All right, but we're looking for the big wick, little wick scenario, or we're looking for the smaller body, larger body scenario. All right, that's what we're looking for if we want to get our trades to work. It will be absolutely fantastic if you can get all three of these to show up. All right, so if we can get all three, fantastic. All three is here. We got the body fitting is all here as well. We got all of that coming in into the same place. All right, so we got our big wick, little wick, small body fitting in here twice. We got the mid above the high. Every box is checked on this particular pattern, as so it is here, and they go up, higher. All right, we had it here too. It's all boxes are checked here. Okay, all of them. All right, all of them. Okay, this one didn't have all of them because that midpoint, which is resting in between the threshold, is not above this candle's high. Okay, so we want to kind of check all boxes. That's all we want to do. Try to get all of the boxes checked. Here's another one. I want you to find this on your chart every day. If you can find all boxes checked, I want you to do that. Now, here, they didn't make it all the way. That's fine. If they would have pulled back, bam. So either way, you could have potentially, I want to say potentially because they didn't get all the way there, but that's good enough. You got a new high. You got to take that into account as well. I want to say this to you, new trader. I'm going to say this to you, and I hope you do understand this. I can't go into great detail about everything about what I'm going to share with you. Outside of the bar's high, if you're going up, okay? If you're going up, outside of the bar high is very dangerous. All right. So if the moment that they go outside the bar's high is dangerous, your probability begins to decrease about it going further. All right. Outside the bar's low, when it breaks the low, your probability decreases of it going further. I want you to hear what I just said. Very powerful and useful information. All right. Now, there's some other things to kind of factor in. And again, I provide education, but I can't tell you it all. Here's all of it, all the boxes checked again. Here we go. All the boxes checked again. We're gonna get to that real time. They're just not doing nothing right now. All right. We want to see that pressure come on. We want to see that just kind of, come on. We want to see it come on. We want to see it come on. It's not coming on yet. All right. Currently, what they're doing is that they're holding this bar. All right. So they're holding this bar right here. All right. So your threshold, give or take. Let's go with the threshold on this one. It's roughly right there. Let's see if they'll pull into that threshold and kind of pop back out of it. All right. So I want to tell you that, okay, we don't need them all the way back here to this threshold at all, really. We want to kind of keep them above that, but let's just do that. Let's put it on the threshold, kind of do this. Now your increase came in, but it's not checking all of our boxes. This one has all the boxes checked here. All right. Now, if you like what I'm sharing with you here, please hit the like button. Take the time right now. Hit that like button. Please do it. I'm trying to help you with your trading. Please share this information. That's the only way it's going to get out. I don't pay for any likes, views, or subscribers. All right, I'm someone that's serious about education. I'm doing my best to inform you guys. That's why I'm not here to entice you. Don't want to make money off you at all. I'm trying to teach you how to trade a plain chart for free. Should you want some indicators, I do have them. Well over 300 of them for $100. All right, so I don't want you to go out here and spend $300-400 for one indicator. That's not how you want to go about trading. You don't want to do it that way. You need to know what you're looking at before you buy the indicator. All right, and I want to make sure I say that to you. So, want to give you what I didn't have. All right, so let me help you get this accomplished. All right, so they're pulling into that threshold. This is the stop bar. All right, this is the stop bar. Let's see if they can go ahead and turn it back around. They're still above the center of the chart, and of course, they need to give us this. All right, because they haven't gotten there yet. All right. If they're going to honor this pattern, that will put them here. So that would put them here. All right. We already know what our trend is. All right. Now, let's say you don't have this pattern near you. Let's say you don't have the no touch near you. What I'm going to want you to do, new trader, here, new trader, I'm going to tell you what you should do. If they're going to turn around, just do that. So if you don't have this pattern, let's say that the no touch, the majority isn't there. I'm sure it's going to be somewhere near it because that's the only way they're going to get the market to go. It's trying to come on right now. The midpoint is above the high. The midpoint of this live candle, it's above the high of this bar. Effectively, you can take the trade at that point, hard stop, because the bar will turn green or red. And then you would what? Do the same thing. Wash, rinse, and repeat. You would commit to the same activity and say, hey, you said that you were going to go up higher and you should get here. And I want you to remain calm. All right, remain calm. Remember what I just told you. Outside of a bar's high or low, the probability decreases once they break it. So I don't want you to be intimidated thinking that it's going to come back and stop you out. That's not how this works. It took me many years to understand what it is that I'm explaining to you. And there's some other details that I'm not disclosing to you. You would have to come over to the private community to find that out. All right. And it's only costs $500 if you want to learn more. All right. You don't have to. I'm trying to show you how to read the chart with absolutely nothing on it. How to spot majority in the chart. Professionals do not trade like novice traders. You come up here and you just want to counter the market. You see the market at a pivot and you just want to go the other way. Don't do that. All right. You don't have to do that. You can go with the market. Go with the market. Let them turn it. Let them turn it. Sure, if you want to be a top tick, bottom tick trader, you're going to lose your account. I don't want you to go through that. I don't. I want you to succeed. All right. So don't be down here trying to buy this turn when they're pushing down like that. Don't do that. Don't do that. I don't have the money, and I'm sure if you're watching my video, you don't have it either. We're not institutions. We cannot turn the market. It wanted to turn. Now, once it turns, now this is just my opinion. Now, if you want to start going into it, use the volume you want to do that. You can do that. But once it turns, all the boxes were checked. All right. I know you may think that, hey, they're going to come back and get me. That's a lot of risk. Yeah, yes. There's ways to take this setup. Right? It's ways to take it without having to worry yourself about them coming back here. There's stuff that I can tell you about when to pick this up. I can absolutely tell you that too. That is very much possible to be down here buying it. But that's not what I'm wanting to share with you at the time. I want you to understand how to just get in it on the way. On the way. Allow the market to take you there. Don't fight them. Don't try to be up here and trying to sell this high. Don't do that. What is the market saying to you right now? Just what is it saying? Have it made this distance yet? It's saying that it could make it. All right, it's saying that. So let's see if it can get there. Can it get up here and turn around? Yes, it can. But I don't want you to just jump into this expecting it to turn around, because right now what it's suggesting is that it will get through the high. That's what it's saying. All right, so let's kind of just throw this here. I know a lot of you love to top tick and bottom tick the market, but that's what this is saying. All right. So if you wasn't up here when they turned, and there's a way to do that. It's a way to do it. I would encourage you to allow them to do this first. All right. Allow for them to make your trend. Okay. Let them do this. New trader, I want to help you. I want to help you get this. This is important. Very, very important. All right. I want you to take this information. Take this information. They said, now this is them saying this, that they were capable of going this far. Will it always work? No. But this is what they were indicating at the time, that this is a place of interest for them to get to. They turned it back around. You do not see a trend up here. All right. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They didn't give you 7. It turned around. All right. So just know that that's important to them. That's all. Now, can they get up here and hold this trend? They absolutely can. However, it cannot be both. All right. So it can't be both. So now when we look at the fact that they got back above the center of our scale, we're not looking for them to come back below it. So it must be uh, very relative that either this bar was going to stop it or this one, and let's take back off if we're going to stay consistent with that trend back to the upside. So there's only two opportunities behind you, respectfully, that you can take based on the majority principle. So don't sell this high. All right, don't do that. They could very much get up here and turn around and fall again. They could, but if this is correct based on this, all right, let me put this here so you know which one we're on. All right, so this one here. Okay. If this is correct, they will not break this bar if they plan to make it here. All right. So if they plan to make it here, they're not going to break this bar. You would anticipate to some degree that they can lean over. Now, can they just come here and go again? Yeah, they could. It's above the upper part of the chart. So can they lean into here? Okay. Let's do this and go again. Yes, they can. Yes, they can. But if you're trailing pretty close, you may want to back up just a little bit. Give them an opportunity to trap people, right? Because there's some people that want to sell this top, and they could be wrong. They could absolutely be wrong. And yes, you could too. It's a 50-50. But what we're trying to do is make sure that we follow rules. What is the rules? We don't have to be the top tick, bottom tick. We don't have to sell the resistance. Okay. We don't have to buy the support. We don't have to do that. All right. I want to show you where your bezel, your hard right edge, without having to look left. I want to show you where your bezel is telling you you have support or resistance going with them. Learn to buy the support going with the trend. Don't go against the downtrend trying to buy support. You'll fail. Don't go against the uptrend trying to sell resistance. All right. Don't do that. There's an uptrend here. Don't sell against resistance. I really want to say that to you. There's someone that may need to hear that. So if you're having a difficult time, please, whatever you do, get your trend first. All right. So that's the first thing we did. We said, hey, dude, you're here. Okay. That's what you're intending. You made it here. It's very much possible that they can make it here. They made it there. So give them an opportunity to trade in this direction. I will tell you, and I showed you your hourly and your daily. They do have something going on. The daily has what it has done, which is diving into that blue bar and then turning. Okay, but your hourly, it has information above it as well. All right, so let me show it to you just one more time before we go. We have that scenario. We have this going on. All right. Now remember, we had the consecutive volume over here. They ran under it. All right. And but the daily fell into that blue bar, and it popped. It gapped up. It came up. All right. So let's see what they intend, because right now with the high of this situation here, they're trying to bring it back down from the hourly perspective. So now you would say, well, what am I listening to? Which time frame I'm destined to follow? Get you an anchor chart. All right. An hourly for me is an anchor chart. So I don't have to try to get into the daily bar. I don't have to do that. I'm trying to show you how you can just take your 1 minute time frame, one chart, and do okay. You can find several trades in one time frame. All right. So we had our all in one here. We had all of it. I don't know. No, because that wick, they're pretty much even. Slightly bigger. The indicator just didn't catch it. Slightly bigger, just by a little bit. That's just fantastic. That's just fantastic. So you had it here. The indicator caught this one. All right, so they're not making it back down into this one here. They're not. Now, once they get here, I must go. All right, I must go. I just want to make sure they can get up here so you can see effectively how to trade with the trend. Just go with them. Go with these guys. You don't have to go against the market. You really don't. I hope you're finding that this information is informative. All right, I want to make sure that you are learning something. All right, that's really important to me that you do learn. If you would like to support the channel, you're more than welcome to do that as well. So maybe you're on a different platform. All right. If you're on a different platform, but you find the information useful and you would like to support the channel, you're more than welcome to do that. The contact information is below the video. I appreciate any effort that you guys put here to show support. All right. I want to say that to you. A like, a comment, however you want to do it. I just appreciate the efforts because there's a lot of information on YouTube and it's not covering the things that the trader really needs to know. Hindsight analysis will never stop us out. Never stop us out. All right. I've been doing this for a very long time and I want to make sure that you have a fair shot at succeeding when it comes to trading. All right, I genuinely care about each and every one of you who are stopping by the channel and watching the videos. I do have over 800 people here. All right, and there's very sparing support here, very sparing. And so I do take a sabbatical from the channel. I do, and even thought about deleting it to be quite honest with you. But yes, over 800 people here. There's not a great deal of support when it comes to liking and sharing the videos. All right, it's sparing. It comes in and it fades away. But if you could, because again, I'm not paying for the subscribers and likes. I'm not paying for that stuff. I only want people to be here that's here based on fate. If fate brought you here, listen to everything that I'm telling you. Press rewind and watch it again. All right. This is education. It's serious. All right. It's education. It's very serious. Press rewind and watch the video again if you must. All right. So they're trying to do this. They're trying to do this. If they want to dive some more, I'm going to go because I'm not going to hold the video too long. But if they don't want to break this, they're going to come here. All right, and if they come here, I'm going to go because I can't stay up here the whole time. I don't want to, stall the video out too much longer. I was hoping they can go ahead and give us that push. All right. So let's see if they'll just want to come here. If they come here, I'm going to have to go. But yes, any support that you want to give, okay, to the channel, you're more than welcome to do so, and I welcome it. All right, because again, I'm educating you guys, and it's important that that information is being valued. All right, it's really important because my time is very valuable to me, very very valuable. So when I take a moment to share information, I do want to know that you're listening to me, that my audience is there, and they're saying, "Hey, I appreciate what you're saying." Otherwise, you're stuck with watching a lot of stuff on YouTube that's just not advantageous and will absolutely destroy your trading. I don't have prop firm links for you. I don't. And I don't even plaster my face on these videos because who cares what I look like? The most important thing is you looking at your chart and making sense of it. All right. All the stuff that other channels do that absolutely just prohibits you from being able to learn an effective approach to markets. And I'm trying to expose to you 4 fundamental dynamics on how to look at charts and effectively read them without any kind of subjectivity. It's very simple. All right. Now, if you want to incorporate indicators, totally fine. Pick whichever one you like. I have tons of them, but pick whichever ones that's on your platform. But make sure you do not forget this information right here. All right. So I wish you all the best with your trading. Take care.